Hey everybody, and welcome back to Occult Perspectives. I wanted to do a short little video today. I'm not sure how much time I have, but in my Archangel video series, I talked about how we were going to talk about how we could use the individual, particularly the Archangels on the Tree of Life in sigil work. And I found, I was reading through this book again. I've only read through the whole thing once, but I found a section in the back that talks about work with talismans. And personally, I don't have any experience really with using talismans, but I know that they work. So we're going to go over the basics of talismans in this video. I don't plan on making this a really long one. And then after we talk about talismans, we'll talk about how to basically call upon the Archangel to get done what you need done. Ask them for assistance, essentially. And talismans and sigils, for me, I don't know if he's going to get into it. This is from Damien Eccles' Angels and Archangels book. I'm just reading directly from this because this is the best, most straightforward reference, in my opinion, that I have on this material. We're going to get into talismans and sigils here in a second, where he talks about them. But before I do that, typically talismans and sigils would kind of fall in line more with gray magic than they would white magic. Is more like, I see the LBRP in the Lesser Vanishing Ritual of the Hexagram, more things that are just working on the self, the internal temple, as white magic, working on conversation with the Holy Guardian Angel and such. And then when you're wanting physical action to actually take place in the universe, for physical change, a physical manifestation, that falls more in line with gray magic, because you're trying to influence forces outside of yourself. We've talked about the different types of magic in videos prior, so I'm not going to get into that in this video, but I just wanted to bring that up, that perhaps before, doing the sigil stuff, maybe do a tarot divination, just to see, and I've also covered tarot divinations in past videos as well. I think that was like my second video. Go back and watch that one. If you think it might be necessary for you to do a divination, that way you can see if you should go ahead and go forward with calling these angels. Let's see what Damien has to say about talismans and sigils. You can turn just about anything into a talisman. People get great results from putting angelic energy into candles. So some people will use candles a lot, choosing colors that correspond with given angels, archangels, etc. We know that white would refer to like Metatron or Kether. A white candle contains the entire color spectrum. So you could either use it says you can use a particular color that corresponds with an angel, or just use a white one because it's all-encompassing and contains the entire color spectrum. Other people prefer to craft talismans themselves or use more natural materials such as wood, stone, and crystal. Whatever speaks to you and seems to work is what Damien recommends. A color that aligns with the angelic energy that you're wanting to invoke. I didn't go over all of the Tree of Life Archangels yet, but I did talk about what some of the Archangels are good for, calling forth for certain things. And I'm not going to go back into the Archangels and go over the list of all that stuff. I will cover that more as we move forward in future videos with the Archangels. I'm going to continue the Archangels series. This video may not be technically part of the Archangels series, but it will go in the ceremonial magic playlist. This is definitely going to be a part of everything that I've added on to that little library of information. Let's see, Damien says recommend choosing a color that, as we said, a color that aligns with the angelic energy you wish to invoke. So if you wanted to invoke the sphere of Gabura, or that's where Camael would be. For example, a red stone for protection, red being the color of the sphere of Gabura, where the seraphim reside. That being said, you can even make a type of talisman out of immaterial objects and as visualizations, which is actually my preferred method. Yeah, there's many methods of making sigils. Sigils are designs, squiggly lines that embody abstract concepts or represent the names of divine energies. In this case, a sigil is essentially a chant of that energy's name in physical form. Interesting. In this day and age, you'd be surprised at how many old books on magic have been uploaded on the internet, and a number of them include traditional sigils that have been used by magicians for centuries. And so it's basically imbued with the power of all the people that have used it in the past. And the same goes for any ritual like the LBRP. When you use the god names at the 4 quarters, it's being added to the power of all the other people that are performing this ritual, across the world and stuff. Archangel Michael sigil, see how many results pop up. Or you could look up the original grimoires in which given sigils first publicly appeared. One of the best known ones is the Grimoire of Armadale. You can design sigils yourself. Damien draws all his own sigils when he creates a talisman. So a talisman seems to be more the thing that the sigil is drawn on, and the sigil is like the character itself that is being drawn. At least that's how I have come to understand this from what I'm reading here in this book. One simple method of doing a sigil, drawing the lines yourself, involves removing all the repeating letters from a name and combining what remains into shapes. There aren't any hard and fast rules to the process. You can add and remove as you see fit, eventually landing on what appears to be a completely meaningless doodle that somehow seems right to you, and that's what you use for your sigil. I'm going to go back in the book. See, here's the Archangel of Michael. Here's the sigil that Damien gives in this book. It's just like these interesting scribbles and stuff in the middle, but it's intuitively done, to have this certain vibration, this certain intent and type of energy put into it. Because I didn't understand, I still don't understand sigils very well. I'm very new to this stuff, so I'm just basically, none of this is my knowledge really. I'm just reading what Damien has to say about it, and then we're going to get into basic sigil practice here in a second, how you would use it to ask the archangels for something. Eventually, with the sigil, you land on what appears to be a completely meaningless doodle that somehow seems right to you, and that's what you use for your sigil. The traditional method I use involves drawing a rose and placing a Hebrew letter on each petal, then translating those letters into the English language counterparts. To make a sigil, you just place a transparent piece of paper over the rose and draw lines connecting the letters that spell out the angel or archangel's name. And he goes on he talks about a method in here. For the Archangel Anael, you begin at the petal with an A on it, and then draw a line connecting it to the letter N, and so on. If you're interested in learning more about these methods, Modern Magic, of course, Donald Michael Craig, that comes way later in the book than what we've even covered on this channel. The sigils I have created for the elemental and zodiacal archangels are included in this book for your use. So yeah, it's nice that Damien was kind enough to basically provide all the sigils in here. for our use, so that we could use them. Regardless of where you get the sigil from, when you employ an angelic or archangelic sigil to create a talisman, it invokes that particular intelligence to grant its power and blessing to the given object. The talisman you construct with the sigil is a direct line of connection to the angel or archangel, and it can be employed to communicate with them. In addition to having the power to invest other objects with the particular power of that angel or archangel. All right. So now we're going to get into the actual sigil practice, and then I'm going to go ahead and end this video. To invoke any angel or archangel included in this book, simply photocopy the talisman and place it on your shrine. Or you could draw the sigil yourself. That is the squiggly line in the center of the talisman in red ink on an object or person. You don't have to draw it in ink or paint, although you can if you prefer. The important thing is to draw it in light with the energy you pull in through the breathing and visualization practices already described. So, using the sword mudra to draw the light, and we do this with, of course, drawing the pentagrams in the LBRP, the hexagrams in the LBRH, and the letters INRI and the LBX ritual, and for other things as well. So basically, I'm just going to go ahead and read how Damien has it laid out here to do this. Let's go ahead and pick an angel that we will hypothetically use. Let's see. Let's go ahead and use Raziel, the Archangel of Hokmah. These are reasons that you would invoke Raziel of Hokmah: to set plans in motion and speed up processes, to gain energy after you have been drained, to break free of any situation that feels like a rut, to obtain wisdom and deeper insight about any subject, especially anything pertaining to past civilizations and cultures. That's really interesting. To discover forgotten or unrecorded magical techniques, to strengthen any divination technique. All right, so let's say we want to, hypothetically, we're going to invoke the Archangel Raziel to obtain wisdom about our past, deeper insight about our past, because it says any subject, especially anything pertaining to past civilizations and cultures. Where do we come from? What, give us insight, give us, wisdom about the energies that have led up to where we are now and where this leads as we further ourselves on our path. Just any general information on that. And if you were to use a sigil to ask for this and then invoke him, what you would have to pay attention to, as it probably says towards the end of the description of this, is you're going to have to pay attention to small synchronicities. Usually, as we know, manifestation doesn't occur instantaneously. You're going to notice like small synchronicities. You're going to have to set it and forget it, as with all other magic. Let it go so it can go to source, and then it can come back and it can manifest the way it's meant to. So you start all of this out with performing the LBRP. If you have a good connection with your holy guardian angel, you can light a candle in honor of your holy guardian angel. If not, skip this part for now. Step 3, you begin taking slow, deep breaths. With every inhalation, envision yourself drawing energy in from the universe around you. So energy from the universe, you're pulling it in towards yourself. Envision yourself drawing energy in from the universe around you. It passes through your body and into the earth in the form of light. So it's being drawn into the body and into the earth, down to your feet. See the entire earth beneath your feet fill with light. With each breath, the light grows more and more powerful. So with each breath, this light underneath you builds more and more and more. Now you use your right hand as the sword mudra, and you trace the sigil of the archangel before you. See it being drawn in the light that accumulated in the earth beneath your feet, which rushes back up through your body and into the sigil. Even if you can't see it, or if you feel as if your powers of visualization are less than perfect, just know that you are drawing the sigil in light. So sometimes visualization is tough. We can't always actually envision ourselves, physically, you know, seeing it in the astral plane, the colors or the shapes or whatever, but just know that you're doing it and feel that it is true. There's no doubt in your mind, even if you can't see it. Call upon the Archangel and state your desires. We said before, we're going to ask Archangel Raziel about wisdom and deeper insight into past lives and where we came from, pertaining to past civilizations and cultures, and where we are headed into the future. And then you would say, Archangel Raziel, please hear me and heed my call. Come quickly to me and fulfill my desire without delay. So this is after you state your desire. But this is an example as well. Archangel Raziel, please hear me and heed my call. Come quickly to me and fulfill my desire without delay. I call upon you to go forth and fulfill my will to such and such a goal, which we just said, which was to learn more wisdom and gain more insight about the past lives, you know, where we come from, essentially, all these things relating to past civilizations, cultures, our ancestors, and where this, you know, where this benevolent energy, what we've all been pushing towards, the new celestial empire, the new heaven, is, you know, rightfully manifested here on the material plane. We want to know more about how this process is happening. So I call upon you to go forth and fulfill my will for this goal. And that's pretty much it. I call upon you to go forth and fulfill my will to such and such, the goal, which we just read. Instead of saying so and such, of course, you would state the angel or archangel's name and your desire. End the ritual by thanking the invoked intelligence as if the result wasn't pending, but rather already fulfilled, setting it and forgetting it, and knowing that it has already come to manifest. You might not see any apparent signs, but angels and archangels begin to act behind the scenes the moment they are called upon. For example, in the Bible, Daniel calls upon an angel for help, but then doesn't see a result until much later. The angel tells him that it started working right away, but that en route it had to overcome many obstacles. Remember this story if you don't notice immediate results, and keep in mind that the energies are without question already acting on your behalf. So that's really awesome. And yeah, it's when you ask the universe for something, remember that, you know, Source is doing a lot to manifest that for you. You know, a lot of pieces of the puzzle have to be moved, you know, for that to come to fruition here on the physical plane. It's a very beautiful thing when the architect, you know, manifests what is right for us, what brings us peace, what helps us evolve, and you know, comes and whatever helps us come into true love and serenity and peace. All right, I love you all. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for having subscribed to this channel. I hope you learned something from this video. Please comment. Let me know what you guys want me to cover next, and take care. Peace and blessings.